Is this where the damn drumming and the music kicks in?
Yeah.
What is going on, everybody? Hello, and welcome back to On the Pipe Podcast. Today is Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025, years after zero. I'm your host, as always, Tyler Shepherdson, and you're joining me just in time for this week's episode of OTP Tuesday. Don't forget, we are presented by Yamaha USA, Yamaha Motors, big supporter, big help of the program, and they debuted their whole entire thing at Des Nations this year. They had kids racing 65s, 85s, and 125s. Looked like a really cool event. Cool to see the Blue Crew out there in full force. They support everything all over the sport and all in the grassroots realm of racing, including On the Pipe Podcast. A big shout out to Yamaha, where we will be headed this weekend to the John Penton GNCC in remembrance, in memoriam of John Penton, who just passed away just a couple of weeks ago. So hopefully, I know there's going to be some great tributes and stuff to him as we go back to that John Penton property at the Russell family farm. And, yeah, I'll be on my Yamaha out there filming the racing action, coming back at you live. You were watching last year's footage from the John Penton GNCC, and it's always a fun track. Well, I hate it, but that's besides the point. It's a fun track in the essence of the John Penton section and how hard it is, how long the laps get, what the mileage is. So it's cool to get down in there and see some of those things going on. Got Big Rig Craig with me in the studio here tonight, and joining us in about 30 minutes or so Tayler Bonecutter from Bonecutter Off-Road will be joining us. Last week when we were doing the show, we posted the questions on Instagram for what you guys might have had questions about. Taylor chimed in and said something about talking about the tariffs and how they're going to affect the motorcycle industry. I said, I'm a big dumb doofus. I don't know anything about that. Why don't you come on and talk about it? She helps run Bonecutter Off-Road out in Missouri. So obviously feeling the effects of the tariffs and what it does for the imports a lot more than the average person will. So we'll get her on here at about 8 o'clock in about 30 minutes from now and chat with her about running a dealership and how these tariffs are going to affect it. Other than that, we got the Mudobbers National Enduro. We got a championship crowned and a couple more that are going to be crowned here in just a couple of weeks, and then a big weekend of GNCC racing action. So let's get right into it. Like I mentioned, Big Rig Craig out here with us. Craig, how's things going?
Just hanging out, enjoying my day.
That's it?
Now, see, man, that's what I'm talking about, loser's mentality. I sit here and try to be positive and just give me dirty looks for my positivity.
Well, I was expecting a little elaboration, you know.
I just had a bacon cheeseburger from the sports page. My dog didn't poop on the floor at all today, so that was pretty cool. I flew an airplane today at 2:30. So,
do you know when the best time to go to the dentist is?
2:30.
At tooth hurty.
Just brush them; they won't hurt.
Always makes me think about it. Designations. You were there this past weekend. National Enduro. You were there this past weekend. How far was Ironman from the Mudobbers National Enduro?
I think it was about an hour and 40 minutes, but we went and stayed. We had a hotel in Indianapolis. It was exactly an hour. And then it was exactly an hour from our hotel to the destinations. So we just cruised back about 4 o'clock Saturday, hung out, got a good dinner, and then about 7:30 in the morning headed to Crawfordsville for the race.
I saw a bunch of footage, knew a lot of people that were there. It's like everyone in my life that I knew were either at the Compton wedding, which is where I was, and the other half were at Designations up in Indiana. But it looked like a crazy time, dude. What was the atmosphere like come Sunday? Because it looks like it got a little rowdy before that.
Yeah, I think they fizzled out a little bit, and I think some people got kicked out. I seen Mr. Cody Groves and his group. Someone punched a cop. It wasn't Mr. Cody Groves, to my knowledge, but they kicked that whole camping corner out. And I think Mr. Alex Luger, they tried to kick him out too, but he was like, all right, I'm out. And then he just walked back to his campsite a mile away from where the fight was and was like, I'm safe. So the next morning when they woke up, Sunday or would have been Friday morning, the cops went over there and made everybody leave. That was at that big block party. But as far as the vibe Sunday, because we pulled in Sunday morning, it was good. It didn't feel like it did at Redbud. I didn't see as much rowdiness. The track, spectating wasn't as good as Redbud. Redbud's pretty solid. I mean, you can see a lot from one spot. So it was still good. Good racing. We enjoyed ourselves.
Sounds like a good time. I've yet to ever make a Designations. I know it's been in America a few times. Haven't been able to make it up there. Always got something going on.
Can't even get you to a Brown trip, dude. You ain't going to Destinations.
One less trip driving to Crawfordsville, Indiana is good for me.
I'm not going to the GNCC, so I thought, well, here's my one trip for the year. And I'm probably never going to go in May for the Hoosier again. So, yeah, October vibes are good. Man, but the Ironman GNCC is a lot of fun. Like, there's a little more. I see why everyone, like, Destinations is fun, the partying and stuff. But being at, what you got there? Being at Ironman's always good because they got the trick-or-treating going on. They got some partying going on, the concert. So it is good just once a year. Once a year for me.
Was there not a concert at Designations?
There was a rave I know of.
Oh.
That's all I know of.
That's neat. Did you make it to the Checkered Flag Tavern?
I did not make it to the Checkered Flag. Come on, everybody. It's my dog. My sweet Reba. Didn't make it there. We went to a place called Drake's. Oh, he's pissed.
All right, maybe we shouldn't have had the door open. First time we did the show with the door open, there's 2 dogs and a cat, so that's why the curtains are going crazy. Obviously, Reba is craving the attention.
ODDP, it's usually open door dumping policy, but today it's open door dog policy, maybe.
Needs a groomer.
Hey, Henry.
Oh,
dude, he's pissed.
So, all right, so Henry is the pug down there, and he
sees me and Reba.
No matter what, animals on TV. He can be in a dead sleep, and if there's a commercial with a dog on it, he wakes up, starts barking at the TV. Just found out he is actually, we got the show up on a TV right here so we can see what's going on.
Henry, here.
He is barking at Reba on the TV, who is in your lap. So our apologies for the barks. I will transition the dogs out of the room here in just a second. But I guess it's time we can go ahead and talk about some National Enduro results and what went on out there at the Mudobbers National Enduro. So taking a look, we'll dig up some results here with DPG, Dimmer's Precision Grading. Number one grading outfit in the Greater Carolina region. No job too big or too small. And, yeah, they help us dig up results from around the country every week as we take a look at what is going on. Dogs get escorted out, so hopefully you guys won't hear any more barking. Sorry about that. Taking the win this past weekend, it was Grant Baylor aboard his Rocky Mountain Red Bear Factory Kawasaki. He got second place in the first test of the day by less than a second, and then ends up just going ahead and clean sweeping the rest of the day. So taking 5 out of 6 test wins on the day, Grant Baylor gets it done. Evan Smith, our top finishing Yamaha of the day, puts it in the number 2 spot on the podium with a second place finish on that Ampro Yamaha. And then in the third place spot on the Triumph, it was Ricky Russell coming off of a National Enduro win. Goes back out there, puts it on the podium once again, third place overall for Slick Rick on the Triumph. Taking the Pro 2 class victory, Nick DeFeo was able to get it done, also aboard a RM Red Bear Factory Kawasaki. In the number 2 spot, Jaden Donners, who I believe coming over from the West Coast.
The Rainbow Rider, cuz. Just like Eric Geese.
Is he Jeff Gordon?
No, he's just Washington native. Just like Buddy Rick.
And Rick and Eric and Jason Raines and...
Yeah, Eric said that's the big thing. All the Washington boys call themselves the Rainbow Riders.
Huh. Makes sense if you think about it.
Yeah.
And rounding out the Pro 2 podium was Hunter Smith. Taking the top AM spot, the winner of the double A class, our buddy, one of the twins, James Jenkins, is able to get it done there. And in the women's elite class, it was Rachel Archer taking the win. She's got that big number 1 plate on the front of her bike, leading the points, heading in. Is there 1 round, 2 rounds?
One more.
One more round. Rachel Archer is going to hold the points lead going into that one. Rachel Goodish in the number 2 spot, and rounding out the women's elite class was Shelby Turner, getting it done, putting it on the box there in the penultimate round. But while we talked about the battle, it's time to talk about the war. Taking 4th place overall. Yeah, 4th place overall, 4th place in the Pro 1 class, but wrapping up his 6th National Enduro title. Stu Baylor was able to go out there and get it done. Now he needs 2 hands to count those National Enduro championships. 6 championships. What an impressive feat, don't you think?
Yeah, I think it's solid, especially when you think of between 2 brothers, they got 9 now, correct?
Yep.
So it's pretty gnarly.
And obviously, Stu was on the program last week, a big part of this National Enduro Championship, and Stu even said it himself. Josh Toth, man, in the mix, taking that thing down to the wire, going back and forth, trading that points lead, trading race wins off with Stu. Obviously goes down, breaks his leg. T's and P's still out with Josh as he continues to recover from that. But ultimate bummer to not see those two compete for the rest of this championship. Once Toth went down, I mean, they had a pretty sizable gap on the rest of the field, so Stu wraps it up around early. But yeah, 9 championships between the Baylor brothers, 6 going to older brother Stu, and then the one person that managed to get a championship win off of them is still under the same tent with them and was in the championship hunt this year with the 206 of Josh Toth. Have you talked to him? How's he healing?
Yeah, he's doing good. I think he's going to start PT next week, start trying to ride a bicycle. Sitting here, I brought up points. He's still in 2nd place in points, and there's still 1 round to go. So we were actually joking around saying that maybe he could go to he actually mentioned it. I think I mentioned it last week too. He said maybe go roll around in Alabama and try to get a 3rd place championship bonus. But yeah, it sucks, especially since it kind of seems like Stu's kind of maybe he just put it on cruise control because he knew kind of the buffer he had. But would have been interesting to see if Josh wouldn't have got hurt, kind of what if Stu would have kind of wicked it up a little bit these last two, because he hasn't won since Rattlesnake, I believe. So the last two he hasn't been on the podium, I don't believe. So been interesting to see what Stu would have done, knowing that he wouldn't have had a buffer at the time. But yeah, it does suck pretty good. But hopefully, probably around the first year, see him back on a bike.
Yeah, and obviously, I mean, Stu during the lead belt had to have known. Someone relayed the information that Toth was obviously hurt pretty bad. But yeah, 2 races in a row where he finishes off the podium in that 4th place spot, and kind of chat with him about the lead belt, saying that just the dusty conditions, the fact that you couldn't see, kind of just caused it to limp it right in. But once he knew that Toth was down, just like you said, I wonder if or how that did affect his riding going out the rest of the season, knowing how big of a gap he had and how he could kind of use that cushion just to get to the finish line and wrap up number 6.
Yeah, I think looking at the grand scheme of things, if race win bonuses are big, but the championship bonuses much bigger. So if he knew all he had to do was wheel it in and get a mid-pack finish each time, it makes sense just to not take any chances. So
yeah. Also, when you had an RV with most of your belongings in it, just burned to the ground, that championship bonus probably looked pretty nice.
Yeah, I'd say it takes a little wind out of your sails, don't it?
Yeah. But, yeah, congratulations to Stu. I mean, that is an impressive feat. I know they have a thing on the website where you can see the past champions. I think chasing the carrot, what's the record? Is it 7 or 8? I think 8 National Enduro titles.
It'd be Lafferty's, wouldn't it? Is that who did it?
So. How many did Randy Hawkins win?
I don't know.
He won 6, 7, 8, something like that, I think.
I know,
6, maybe?
I know Bobbitt had a couple, correct? Bobbitt had quite a few.
Yeah.
This was the points I brought up. I can pull this up right now.
Yeah, see if we can jump on there. There's a thing on their main website, like not Live Laps, but the National Enduro website, that says former champions. Should have been more researched and known that before we got out of here and talked about it. But what I'm saying is that Stu, now with 6 championships, is in the upper echelon of those guys in the National Enduro Series, but also when you look at like AMA Pro Championships, there's not a lot of guys that have as many. Obviously, Stu, a couple XC2 championships, a full gas championship back when full gas was full gas. Now 6 National Enduro titles, and I mean that's just putting together a heck of a career, and obviously just one major piece there that has managed to elude him all these years, and that's the GNCC championship. Although he did win the points in 2023, he has yet to be crowned a GNCC champion. Were you able to find it on there?
No, I'm looking on here. I don't see. I was kind of looking under. Here's format about.
I know that they're.
Latest news. I didn't see it on results and scoring.
Let's see. Sorry for the downtime, folks, but I do want to kind of pull this up while we're sitting here talking about it.
Here we go. Past results. Complete list of national champions. Yeah, here we go. So here's 1961 to 2024. So last year, obviously, Josh Toth, Grant Baylor 2 years in a row, 22 and 23. Stuart Baylor, Grant Baylor. So other than Josh Toth, anyone other than a Baylor, it took till 2016. Caleb DeLong. Let's see the longest running. So there's Bobbitt in 2016, 11, 9, 8, 6. Here we go. Looks like Mike Lafferty. It's Lafferty 2007, 2005. 8 for Mike Lafferty. They weren't straight, but we got 8 championships for Mike Lafferty. Oh, here we go. Dick Burleson, maybe?
There are some hardcore National Enduro fans that are screaming at their computers, TVs, cell phones, whatever they're listening to us on right now. They are screaming at us right now. I can guarantee it.
You're making fun of us. Looks like Bill Baird. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Looks like Bill Baird had 7 of them on a Triumph. So Triumph's had their. This is not the first championship if Triumph gets one in the next couple years. What the hell was he on a Triumph in the 60s?
How many did Dick Burleson have?
Shows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 for Dick Burleson. 8 for Burleson, 8 for Mike Lafferty.
6 for Bill Baird.
6 for 8. 7 for Randy Hawkins.
Yeah, getting another one done in 2004.
Yeah, 7 for Randy Hawkins.
Anyway.
So it looks like 8.
So, yeah, Moto Fro, shout out, helping us out in here. Could have saved us a lot of time. 8 time for Lafferty and Burleson, says Moto Fro. I think we confirmed that. So, Stu got one more to catch Randy Hawkins, and 2 more to catch the all-time lead, and 3 more to be the sole owner of the most National Enduro National Championship. So, what a feat. And now it looks like his team could come away with 2 more championships on the season. I think you had the points pulled up there, but right now Nick DeFeo leading the way in the Pro 2 class, and Rachel Archer leading the way in the Women's Elite class with 1 more round to go. What's the gap right there?
So
15?
Nicholas DeFeo has 177. Jack Walker has 162. So it looks like going into the last round, there's going to be a 15-point gap. So if I'm pretty illiterate, so I think if Jack Walker wins, Nick DeFeo has to get 6th or better to wrap it up points-wise.
I think it'd be lower than that. I don't know how the National Enduro points work.
30 for first, 25 for second. That's why I'm just looking up here. It shows
okay, I see it.
6th place is 15 points.
Oh, look at that. Should have trusted you.
Yeah, treat me better. So, looking good going into last round.
Was there 6 Pro 2 riders this past weekend?
But I can tell you.
I think you got it in the other tab there.
We'll see who's...
We do our research live on the air. Thanks for bearing with us and being here with us. Oh, it's quite a few. 16.
16.
16 Pro 2. So not
That's
not
overall. It was 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 11.
But
so,
looks like, if he goes through Alabama and just doesn't have any mechanicals, keeps it on 2 wheels, should be okay.
So not a walk in the park. Still gotta finish. Can't just do one test and secure it like Josh Toth might be able to do for the 2nd place spot. But yeah, Nick DeFeo 6th or better with a Jack Walker win. Obviously, if Nick DeFeo wins, that's it. That's all she wrote. What about the Women's Elite? What's our points gap there?
Yeah, I got pulled up right here. So Rachel Archer's at 187 and Rachel Gudish is at 165. Kind of crazy she didn't make it to Missouri because that would have been a lot closer.
Do they have drops in National Enduro, I wonder?
All the women might have drops.
We are very prepared. I know that. So the women have 2 drops when it comes to GNCC. I am not sure if they have drops when it comes to National Enduro. But
sorry, y'all.
Either way, Rachel Archer with a 22-point gap heading into the final round. Should make for an interesting last round. And I mean, that's going to be a pretty impressive feat for that team to come out and sweep all pro championships this year. Obviously, have 2 or 3 or 3 riders should be on the Pro 1 overall championship box, right?
Yeah, right.
Or is Ricky in 3rd in points? It's got to be between Grant and Ricky.
Yeah, I think Grant is in 3rd. No. Hold on. Oh, this is from the weekend. That's my bad.
Taking a look back at the point standings here. Ricky Russell, 3rd place. We're going to get a snapshot about that. Sorry, Ricky.
Sorry, Rick.
I thought
Brother
he was
Rick.
up there. So
Grant did not ride Sumter.
Yeah,
that's why.
11 points is the gap between Grant and Ricky.
Yeah, and actually looking back at, I'm being kind of counterproductive with this thing. Looking back at women's elite, if they do have drops, Rachel Gudish will be dropping if they have 2 drops, let's say. She had the one missed round in Missouri. Other than that, it's all first and seconds. Rachel Archer will be dropping. She has 2 thirds. So that actually might be a lot closer than what we think, depending on how many.
But other than those 2, all of Rachel's other rounds are scoring or winning rounds, right?
No, she has a second in round 1. So it's still gonna be very close. I mean, if Rachel Gudish wins Alabama, and Rachel Archer has any issues and outside the podium, it would be pretty big swing.
Well, let's pull up the rules here. See if I can find it quickly. Pro 2, AA. Man, this has got to be a boring show for people to watch right now. But at least we're making the concerted effort to come up with true information. You know
I will say, while you're looking at that, the Mudobbers race was very solid. 90 or 89 mile an hour for Ben Kelly on his Garmin watch going down. I believe after test 1 there was a 2 mile long section of soybeans that had been harvested. My Yamaha 450, I was full tuck, and it was in 5th, and it was just bouncing. Like, it was a long straight stretch. So I'm curious to see where I was at. I'm not saying I was at 90 or better, but I think Rick was at 87, and he'll probably listen to this and quote me and call me a bullshitter. But
I think it said 92.
His said 92?
I think so.
I know BK's was 89. So it's pretty gnarly. Like, I needed one more gear, needed to drop a couple teeth on the rear. So track was good though. It was dry, but it wasn't like Missouri dry. Like, it was the kind of dry where it didn't blow up powder. It was just kind of hard packed, and it was good. So the Mudobbers guys did a great job setting up the track.
So is it kind of like Ironman dust? Because lead belt dust seem like the silty dust that never really settles. It just stays up in the air, never settles. Indiana, like Ironman, you seem to get like that heavier dirt. So even if there is some dust, it'll settle a little bit better.
Yeah.
What was it like up there at Mudobbers?
It was
Dust Daubers.
Yeah, Dust Daubers. It was more hard packed. I will say, like there was a couple sections where if you caught up to a couple lappers, there was a little bit of dust standing in the air, a little bit of not much wind coming through the woods, but visibility wasn't much of a factor for anybody, to my knowledge. It was good.
So coming through, and real quick, I skimmed through the National Enduro website. I could not find the women's elite thing, but our good buddy Eric Geese, like the bird, did chime in and say 1 drop for women's elite. So we got that settled. So Rachel Goodish will drop a missed round.
Yeah.
And Rachel Archer will drop a 3rd place.
Yeah, and
she should have a pretty good gap still, I would imagine.
She'll still have 1 third and 1 second, and then Rachel will have 3 wins. Rachel Gudish will have 3 wins and 3 seconds. So then Archer will drop just 1 third, and then she'll have another 3rd and another second.
How many wins for Archer?
Archer has 1, 2, 4 wins. So I mean, still, if she's off the podium at Alabama, that could be pretty close. But
yeah,
pretty crazy. I'm not surprised. I don't know if Rachel went overseas and was racing some of the Enduro GPs, and maybe that's why she wasn't there. But I was kind of surprised to see her not there whenever we were racing.
I know that is the reason she missed at least 1, if not 2, was overseas racing. Enduro GP. Rachel Goodish was one of them people that kind of races just everything, but it is interesting to see. It seems like National Enduro produces, I don't want to say random, because it's not random. Like, they're all very good riders, but it's interesting to see the champions that come out of National Enduro.
Yeah.
From women's elite, like Mackenzie Tricker, lifelong moto girl, started racing GNCCs, decided to go to the National Enduros, and I think she won 4 titles, 4 titles, something like that. Pro 2, I mean, Jesse Ansley winning titles. Liam Draper won his same year he won XC2. I think Craig DeLong did too, or I don't know.
In Pro 2, you mean?
Yeah, even Pro 2.
I'm not sure.
Now I'm getting off the rails. We got Nick DeFeo leading it now.
It's kind of
someone else won Pro 2 that was kind of like
Nelco.
Nelco, yeah.
Nelco won one. It's kind of one of those things. I know everyone says GNCC is the premier off-road riding series, which it is. It doesn't necessarily mean that the fastest guys at GNCC should be the fastest everywhere else. Like National Enduro is definitely a different ball game. It's much slower paced. It's just different. So I do see some guys who, well, for instance, Eric Geese won Open A at National Enduro, and he killed it. There's not a double A class at GNCC, but there's XC1, XC2, kind of XC3, not anymore, and then it goes into the A classes. So it's structured a little bit different. But like the guys winning the Open A classes at GNCCs, they're running double A at National Enduros. Same thing with some of the guys who ran Pro 2 this year. I believe they're running 250A and stuff like that. I think like Hunter Bush and Hunter Smith, they run, maybe Hunter Bush runs XC2 now, but it's just a little bit different. I mean, the tight woods are a lot different than the highways of GNCCs. So as far as the pro classes, it's pretty similar, but you go back into the amateur stuff, it's just a kind of different discipline.
I wonder if that could be a solution for GNCC now that they're getting rid of the XC3 class. And you got these guys, like the top 3 guys in 250A, the top 2 or 3 guys in Open A, and then even some standouts in the 4-stroke A lights class. Like, they seem to put themselves on a completely different level than the rest of the A-class fields, where it's like if you get promoted at your local series, you win a B-class championship, you move up to A, you're a podium guy at the locals, at a Mid-East, at an IXCR, kind of thing like that. A lot of times you go to the GNCCs in that A class and you can't really compete because of those top guys. So I wonder if that's something that GNCC's ever looked at in putting a double A class in for those standout A riders that are like on the precipice of being XC2 guys to kind of do a year or two in there instead of being in the 250A class or Open A class. Never really thought about that before because most local series run a double A class and National Enduro does too.
Yeah, but So I agree. So like North Carolina has double A, then they have pro class. But just kind of talking to some people over the years, I've heard a lot of people say they think the double A class in National Enduro is kind of bullshit. Like they think if you're faster than an A rider, you're on pro class. I see where it works out good because I'm running Open A, not winning by no means, just top 5s here and there. But then if Cole Whitmer, who runs Open A at GNCCs, were to come, if you look at his times, he's killing all of us.
Yeah.
Like he would smoke everybody in Open A. And he's winning or, top 3 to his brother, whatever. The Whitmer boys are winning double A most of the time.
James Jenkins been running pretty good.
But
newly crowned XC3 champion.
Oh yeah.
Riding a 4-stroke over there in double A class taking
big dog. Yeah, I don't know. GNCC to get rid of XC3, I mean, that's a situation where someone like JoJo, who everybody says, 5th year in 250A, it's, he'd be out of 250A being double A, and then someone like me who would run Open A now, I'm going to get beat real bad. Like in a 3-hour race, I'm going to get, stomped. It would just make me look a little bit better. But I don't know. I kind of like how it is, really. I don't really care for the double A class. If you're running double A, I feel like that should be the pro class, like at locals.
Yeah.
I think there shouldn't be a double A at North Carolina. I think it should be pro class. I think the pro class should have 20 guys in it, if that's how they're going to do it. Or run Open A.
Yeah.
Just my personal opinion.
And I mean, the flip side of that, too, like if there was more clearly defined ways to be promoted out of A class into XC2, I think something like that might go a longer way because, like I said, I think that gap between those top few A riders and the rest of the A riders is a little big at times. But then, you see the guys that kind of stay back in A class and don't make the jump to XC2. If there was a way to kind of force those guys out so that way they're moving up to XC2 and then the rest of the guys in A class can kind of wait until their time comes to be the guy that's up there battling for the championships.
Yeah, and I think if there's more of an opportunity for sponsorship and money to be made, there would be. But, I mean, I know a lot of guys 3 guys in 250A right now that are running 250A because they're making a living.
Yeah.
And they're not going to make a living in XC2. They will. Like if JoJo jumped up to XC2 right now or last year, he would have done pretty good. I mean, I think in the overall, he was right outside the top 10 a lot of times, maybe a top 10. Don't quote me on that, but I do think it's all about money, which, if you're making $60,000 a year, but you bought a Cowie just to go make contingency money and get to the races, you got to do whatever you could do to, keep the bills paid and keep racing. So I kind of get the whole thing. It's just money wise.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
So.
No, I mean that's a thing as old as time. Like we've talked about that. Like if you're making a living and you're getting a salary, why would you move up?
Yeah.
And so it is cool that some of those opportunities have been afforded to some people. And then I mean kind of same thing. Like those win bonuses out of 250A got to be pretty nice. From contingency, from if you got a team, if you're on a team deal, like it's got to pay to be the top A rider versus being like a top 5, top 10 XC2 guy for sure.
Yeah, some of those guys are making gear deal money. Like I heard of a time where Moose was paying like 250A guys pretty decent bonuses for winning, and that was just either personal sponsor from the rep or whatever. But I think a lot of these guys that get forced out of 250A and go to XC2, they're done racing. Like they'll start racing locals and making $800 out of Mid-East if they can win, or North Carolina. So it is all about money, in my opinion, as far as why a lot of people don't move.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, speaking of those team deals, last week, we talked about some silly season stuff. One of the big things about that is I think the lack of job for me every year. It seems like the bigger news of who's going where is who doesn't have a ride. What?
I was just showing you the time. That's all I'm doing, bud.
Thanks. I got the time right here.
That's my bad.
Why I keep pointing at the computer. But one of the things that could greatly affect the amount of team deals and the amount of money that's going into the sport are some of the tariffs that are impacting the imports of motorcycles. So that is why we're going to get our next guest here tonight on the line. Tayler Bonecutter is going to join us in just a second. Great time to let you guys know, as always, our program is brought to you in part by Zach Tussle at Raymond James Financial. Zach is a racer and a financial advisor that helps his clients win when it comes to retirement and financial planning. See if you can change that video to Black Magic thing. But you can check out Zach Tussle whether you're saving up for retirement or you're already retired and looking for advice during your retirement.
Oh, no.
Zach Tussle can help you out with that. We are working through some stuff here. I can't read what any of that says.
It's both mics.
Oh, this
Black
is
hole 2H up on top.
Plug that in. We run a loose program. We're getting it dialed in. Don't you worry.
My bad.
All right. There we go. All right. So check them out, tussleinvestments.com, or you can find him on social media, Zach Tussle, and he can help you out with all of your financial investments. But with all of that being said, we're going to welcome in our guest tonight, Tayler Bonecutter from Bonecutter Off-Road. Out in Missouri, they help a lot of riders, and obviously you got the dealership and stuff. So let's welcome to the show, Miss Tayler Bonecutter. What's going on?
Hi. I'm just hanging out, just chilling.
Sweet. Well, thank you for taking the time out. Thank you for joining us. Obviously, we see the social media. You and Preston Rains used to be heavy at it. We see the bits. We see the clips. We see everything at the dealership out there. So just tell us a little bit about yourself and kind of about the dealership and what all you do.
So we started the dealership back in 2013. My parents had bought a old Chevy dealership, and we have a body shop as well, so we didn't really know what to do with the showroom area. And all of us just started getting into riding and needed a way to get parts pretty easy because it was hard. There was not a lot of options in our area as far as like supporting dealerships that had stuff in stock. So we decided to sign up with Beta, and that was the first brand we carried. And then after that, it just kind of exploded. I started in the body shop, and then I got injured one year and I had to go up into the office because I couldn't like do body work. And after that, I just stayed up there, and because it just got busy enough where we needed somebody full-time doing it. And then over the years, it's just grown, and we added Sherco in 18 and then Gas in 22.
Oh, sweet. So 3 different brands out there at the dealership. Good friends of ours, good friends of the program, the Johnson boys, Brody Johansson, obviously been standing out. I know you guys help him out a little bit as well, and just kind of seeing the Bonecutter off-road thing throughout the sport and some riders that you guys support. So that's really cool on that side as well.
Yeah, definitely. It's been fun helping them. They've been really good to the shop and sending people our way. I get calls all the time from South Carolina, North Carolina, so it's good. Thankful for their support and their help. So it makes it easy, like supporting people like that.
Yeah, that's cool. Couple good boys right there. Brody, he just the way that he's been riding, it's cool how much he's been coming into his own and getting back from Mid-East, and now finally breaking the ice, getting back on the GNCC XC2 podium. So it's always cool to see those shout outs to you guys and the support and stuff.
Yeah.
So cool. And so last week we kind of got to talking. I put out the questions things on Instagram, and one thing that you mentioned in there was talking about the tariffs, and I kind of opened up the show with saying it, but a little bit of a big dumb doofus when it comes to some of that stuff. Gotten to the point where all the political realm, I kind of just not even look at it because can't change it. It only upsets me. So some of the stuff I purposely try not to learn about, which isn't the best thing, but tariffs is one of them. So that's why I said, hey, it directly impacts you and what you do, and you're probably way more knowledgeable than I am about it. And so invited you on the show to kind of talk about it. And, I guess the big part is how worried do we need to be, and how much can these tariffs actually affect what everyone that's listening to the show likes to do every weekend?
So the biggest thing that is problematic with the tariffs is going to be August 18th, they passed a new tariff code affecting steel and aluminum, and it's not raw materials. So this is like finished products on your bikes, on your parts, and it can be tariffed 50%. So if you have a dirt bike that is 75% steel and aluminum, and they have it in different categories too. So it's 250cc to 500cc's are affected by this.
I have these on here. Does this help you have this on screen, or do you not want it up here?
Yes,
All right, cool.
Thank you, because I had it here. All right, so if you have a $10,000 dirt bike, hold on, I don't know what just happened. All right, there we go. If you have a $10,000 dirt bike and 75% of it is made up of steel or aluminum, 50% of the 75% is 7,500, and then whenever you cut that in half, because it's 50%, that's 3,750 of the tariff. And then each country has a reciprocal tariff that has been agreed upon. And so the UK is 10%, Japan is 15%, Europe is 15%, and then China's 25%. So what's remaining on the bike is tariffed at whatever the country amount is. So for Europe, it is 15%, and 25% of the bike was left, so that's $375. So when you add that all up, that is $4,125 per bike. So now your $10,000 bike is a $14,000 bike. That is a lot more money than like any manufacturer can just eat. And so the prices of dirt bikes are going to go up significantly, and then parts will follow. And like parts have already started. We've already been seeing it all year for aftermarket. Like I think January was whenever I really started noticing it, but it really this summer, like seeing things starting to double, and then like not really sure why, because I don't pay attention to politics. I just rather stay out of it, but this kind of directly affects me and everybody that rides. So I needed to learn about it. And then I know OEMs are going to start increasing parts before the end of the year, and then bike increases. Like every year bikes go up, but like this is going to be a little bit more than what most are prepared for. A lot of manufacturers have MSRP released for their bikes, but there's like bottom lines that say subject to change, and that is because of the tariffs and what's happening.
And that is the part that I think people don't really realize. Like you hear about tariffs, oh, that's not going to affect me. But when you're seeing a $10,000 motorcycle go up to a $14,000 motorcycle, and as you mentioned, the parts coming in, it absolutely is going to affect everyone. And I guess kind of going one step back, tariffs are basically taxes that we have put on everything that we import. And you could argue it seems like the key part about that is to kind of encourage people to bring manufacturing back stateside, I guess is the end goal of it. But I think we're at the point now where it's just turned into a pissing contest, for lack of a better term, between all the countries where now everyone's like, oh, we're just going to put more money on you and we're going to put more money back on you. But at the end of the day, it sounds like the consumers are the ones that are going to have to really eat this whole thing, because as we're importing parts, importing all that, like you said, these companies can't afford to just eat the cost.
Yes. And then another thing, there is not a lot, but a decent amount of parts made here in the U.S. by companies, and they are going to raise their prices because they can, because of how much everything else is going to cost that's coming in. And then if they're also getting like their steel or aluminum from overseas, then that'll increase it right away. So like everything is affected across the board.
Dang. So from running to dealerships, selling parts, selling bikes, what have you noticed so far? And I guess what do you think the biggest concerns are as we keep moving towards this path?
So every single day I get asked if I can come off my price. And like, I support a fair amount of people, but I can't support everybody. And so like just getting beat down on, is that as low as you can go, or why is it so high? And then just trying to explain it. And then the demand of parts, there's a lot of things right now out of stock across the board between OEMs and aftermarkets, just because a lot of the companies have been waiting out the tariff thing. And so it's kind of made inventory pretty much go away for a lot of people. And so getting things is a lot harder, and then giving it away is even harder to do so whenever I know next time I buy it, it's going to be double in price. So that's what I'm feeling the effects of, is just trying to actually sell things. But we got into the used part market, so like we have a lot of bikes that we have torn apart and the parts are good kind of thing, to kind of offer a cheaper method to those that can't necessarily afford the new stuff. So that's helped a little bit, but just like getting people to be understanding of like, your $30 tube is now $60, and it's not because of me. It's what it is.
Yeah, Taylor, do you think this is going to change a lot of the things? Like towards the end of the year, manufacturers have rebates. Like last year, I seen a lot of gases that were dirt cheap. Like I was on a gas. I was actually going to buy a new one because I seen $7,500 gets you a brand new MC350 at a place in Pennsylvania. I seen, and you guys might have also had similar things. But I mean, a lot of people around this time are starting to think, well, the 26s are coming out. If there's some leftover 25s, wait on the rebates. Do you think that's same thing? Everybody's probably going to hold on, and because they can still sell their bikes for full MSRP now that everything's jacking up $3,000.
Right. Yes. So used bike market's going to get a lot better, and they'll start bringing a lot more things. But as far as rebates go, I don't think Gas or KTM Group as a whole, they're not going to get pretty aggressive with it. They've cut production down significantly going into this next year for all three brands. And then a lot of the manufacturers, when the 50% tariff got passed on August 18th, there was a lot of containers already on the water. And so like getting hit with that unpredicted like expense across the board, there's just not much room to where like they can go nuts on discounting bikes like that, and especially where their whole year has been. Like the way I understand it, the rebates we have is about as good as it's going to get, and they're not aggressive as what they were.
Yeah, and thinking about something like that is I do a lot of buying and selling. I have a 2023 gas I'm putting together right now to sell. During COVID times, you own in the shop, you for sure know, huge boom. Everyone's buying motorcycles. If you have an 05 YZ250 at the house, you're asking $4,500 for it, and guess what? There's a lot of people that were paying that. It was honestly crazy, and now, past 6 months, well, really the past year, I've noticed stuff tank. Like I had another 23 350 last year. Couldn't get $4,000 for it. Nobody wanted to pay for it. It was fresh motor, this, that, and the other. In my opinion, it was a $5,000 motorcycle. I had to do some trading with boot and sell another bike just to get relatively what I wanted out of it. So what you were just saying, this is going to pretty much bring the price of used bikes right back up, which in my opinion, really screwed a lot of people trying to buy motorcycles 4 years ago. Like, it was pretty tough during COVID, working 30 hours for me because we were having issues. Just everyone was having issues with employment. But same thing. I was having to buy new motorcycles trying to race, and even buying a used bike was crazy high. So if that happens again, I'm interested to see what people do as far as, some people not racing as much, or just everybody trying to buy used bikes now before the big boom happens.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this. I don't think people are fully aware of the trickle effect of all of this and like what's going to happen. So I think most people should probably go ahead and plan on buying now versus waiting till later in the year, just because by the end of this year, things are going to be pretty insane on prices across the board. So it's going to be tough.
Yeah.
Jeez. And I mean to cut you off after. This is the second page of notes here where it kind of goes kind of beyond Europe and into the Chinese stuff. So, yeah, I can pull up any of these the notes that you sent me to kind of go over.
Okay. So, as far as parts go, whenever you think about your bike, how many parts on it is made out of steel or aluminum? And it's quite a bit. Like, little things that you don't think have that metal in it, it's in it, and it's going to be tariffed. So, like, this example of the parts on the screen is a sprocket, and 80% of it is steel or aluminum. And so if it's a $100 sprocket, that tariff is going to be $40, plus what's left that's not steel or aluminum of the country's reciprocal tariff. So that amounted to $3. So that's $43 tariffed per sprocket. So that, I mean, the sprockets will go up, which we've already seen that. We've already seen rotors go up. We've seen tubes, like I mentioned, like the inner tubes. I'm not talking bib mooses or anything like that. Just like super ultra heavy duty tubes are now $60. And like the first time I rang it up, I was mind blown because I have a bunch on the shelf, and it shocked me because at the beginning of the year, they were $30 is what we were selling them for. So, like, things like that. And then if anything's coming out of China, which was like chains, batteries, things like that. I know I read an article on DID. Some of their chains are over $300 now, which is
Golly.
insane. Yeah. So, but they put out like a blog post about how each tariff thing that got passed and how it's affected them and how much money they've ate. And they said that the DID Dirt Star rims, they're not going to increase at this point in time. They're going to continue eating the tariff. But I wouldn't be surprised if within next year sometime they go up, especially if the chains did that.
Means those rims must have a hell of a markup in them.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wondered that when I read it, but they had it out there on the internet.
Yeah.
So.
Just make some carbon fiber sprockets, but that's all you need. Just make everything carbon fiber, nice and heavy duty.
When you start thinking or learning how much it costs to make a tire, you're like, oh my goodness, you're charging what? But you kind of go through some of the parts there and stuff, and obviously every business is for profit. Got to make a living, I understand. But, I mean, chains, you gave the example, or tubes rather, you gave the example. That's 100% increase if it's doubled in price. But, I mean, some of this stuff, we talk about bikes going up 40, 50% in price. Tubes are doubling in price. Has there been one thing like in your day-to-day operations that you've noticed other than tubes? I know you brought that example of, but, I mean, is it pistons? Is it clutch packs? I mean, what kind of things have you noticed the biggest increase on already?
I looked up a pipe today, and the price of it about gave me a heart attack, and I ride a two-stroke, so that was not a pleasant feeling because it was a two-stroke pipe.
What brand was it?
It was Beta. It was OEM. So usually they're pretty fair on their prices, and they did give us a warning, like increase coming kind of thing. And they've done very, very good at like eating a lot of the tariffs this entire year. Like they've been good. I'll say that. So it's and I don't even remember last time they even increased their parts. So yeah, but that pipe, it was a scary number.
I guess we're about to find out if FMF's really all American made, American steel. Stuff starts going up, we're going to start asking questions.
Yeah.
So, Dawn, What's going on, Don? Where are you getting this metal from, brother? No, you're lying to me now.
That's wild to think about. And, I mean, you think, hopefully, that this whole thing is meant to get deals done between people that we'll never talk to in our whole life behind closed doors. And hopefully this thing can stop at some point. But right now it seems to just be going worse and worse.
Yeah. And then I didn't realize this because I stay out of government stuff, but the government's been shut down for, I think, a week now. And from what I was told earlier, they think it might be another week, another 2 weeks. So, like, this is not going to be resolved for a little bit, I'd say. Yeah, so that's another interesting thought in its own right there. So
I better go buy that $2,800 YZ250 I've been thinking about online, brother.
Jeez,
yeah, don't wait.
Sounds like you guys need to rush to your local dealerships and buy some bikes for next season if you want to have one and pay less than your car cost.
Yeah.
Trying to skim through here, but I mean, so this next page here, it kind of even goes farther than that, because you think of, obviously we're in the racing world, so we see how it's affecting racing, which is like a leisure activity. But I mean, you brought up good points here, like farmers, people that that rely on these ATVs, these UTVs, these things like that to do what they're doing. I mean, what's the trickle down like past just the racing industry?
So we used to work on ATVs and UTVs whenever my brother worked with us. That was kind of his gig. I don't know why he liked doing that. He wasn't a dirt bike. He didn't want to touch them, but whatever. So he worked on them, and like the farmers, they are hard on their equipment and they are tight with their money because there's a lot of expenses associated with farming for one. But like, I don't know how they're going to handle that kind of increase, just because like whenever we were doing it, if I had a bill that was $500, it was not going to be pleasant 9 times out of 10. And like, that's not much money in my opinion, based on like what we've done on their units. So like, I think that it's gonna, like another thing that I learned, I think it was yesterday, China buys soybeans from the U.S. farmers. And because of what's going on with the tariffs, China is not going to be buying any of the soybeans. So there's farmers getting affected in different ways outside of the tariff stuff. And so I don't know what's going to happen. I would suspect like food prices would obviously raise. Farmers some of them might go away. Like, I don't think that's good.
Maybe that's why they're buying all that property in the United States. So they can start farming it themselves. Rowboat it over.
Yeah.
Damn Chinaman.
It is kind of crazy how many hundreds of thousands of acres of farmland's been bought up by the Chinese.
Yeah.
Maybe that's they're going to grow their own damn soybeans.
Yeah, and I'm zero politics also. I'm very dumb when it comes to a lot of things, especially that. So none of it sounds good, especially the tariffs, the pissing contest. I can't imagine. Like, hopefully the goal is to, in a couple years down the road, this all pay off, stressing everybody out. But as of right now, it just kind of looks like shit.
Yeah. And another thing, I didn't have it on my paper, but like first responders, there's a lot of those guys that use UTVs. So like that kind of affects that as well. So it's not just like dirt bikers. It's everybody.
Yeah, the whole trickle down. And I mean, one thing too, obviously family business, like you said, between the car dealership and the power sports dealership. One of your bullet points here is facing shrinking margins when there's not much to begin with. I mean, I know I joked about the tires and that kind of thing. A lot of people think that there's a ton of markup in some of this stuff, but a lot of it, the margins are a lot slimmer than you would think. So, I mean, as someone that's running a dealership, what does the outlook look like as far as that, like trying to get through this time and hoping that everything will level out and go back to normal at some point?
I think the biggest thing that's going to help us, we have stockpiled parts for a lot of years, and I try to keep tabs on things that seem to be increasing and getting it already on the shelf kind of thing. And so that's going to be our biggest thing, to be able to keep margins, especially whenever we support a lot of racers. And then as far as like sponsoring race series and whatnot, we do a lot of donations and stuff like that. So like for us, that just stockpiling parts, because that's basically where you can make your money. When you sell bikes, there's no markup like at all. You barely get your guy paid to PDI it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That kind of confuses me too, because like you see Kawasaki's pushing the contingency pretty heavy. Well, at the end of the year last year, you could go to Rockingham Power Sports in North Carolina, and out the door, $7,000. Like they said 65, and I heard of some guys getting some killer deals because they had a racer program that if you bought it, they immediately gave you $1,000 cash rebate as along with it too. But how you could buy a brand new Kawasaki for $7,000 was kind of weird to me. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how they could sell it that cheap. And I mean, there was a lot of them selling, so I can't imagine they're making any money on them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a time where Ride Now was, and they're like the most expensive dealer I've ever heard of, but they were selling brand new RM 450s for $5,000.
Yeah,
off the showroom floor. Which I guess with their problem, it's they haven't had anything but bold new graphics in the last 13 years. But still,
yeah.
Getting to the final page here. We talked a little bit about it before you got on there about how this could impact teams. Obviously, teams have a huge budget that they need to fulfill for their own racers, and obviously with you supporting it too. But like as far as like manufacturers, where do you think this leads them and manufacturers spending on teams when we're already at a spot where there's more guys without a ride than guys that got new rides?
Yeah, I think it's going to continue to get worse on that aspect. And that's kind of why I wanted to put that on there, just because I know a lot of racers listen to this. And I feel like it's important for them to understand what's actually happening in their sport. And yeah, I think, well, we know there's teams going away as far as next year. Some are disappearing, not coming back kind of thing. And there's going to be less rides. And like you said, there's more riders without a ride than have a ride. And then across the board, there's going to be less opportunities from companies that are able to have a big budget to be able to sponsor a lot of people or give free stuff or whatever. And you might see more discount type stuff instead of just here's a allotted amount and then I'm going to pay you money too kind of thing. Like I think going into next season and depending on how all the tariff stuff lands the following year will be interesting to see what happens.
Jeez. See, when it gets put all in perspective, and like I said, I was living in blissful ignorance. I was just kind of ignoring everything till you brought it up last week, and then like start thinking about it and reading about it, and then reading what you put together. It's like this is I think a lot more serious than what everyone was thinking or anticipating. Myself for sure, but I'm sure there's a lot of people that are hearing this right now going, "You're saying what's going to happen?"
Yeah, it's scary. Like as far as that goes, whenever you look at how much the sport costs anyway. And if you can afford to do it, and then if it increases by that much, can you still afford to do it?
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see, too, like the American-made companies.
Prosper.
Yeah, like XC Gear, like Lance, Enduro Engineering, FMF, PCs out of California. I don't know who all, like we were talking about earlier, who all gets their metal from where. I do think FMF is supposed to be 100%, American everything, because there are quite a bit of steel mills in the United States still. But it'd be interesting to see what kind of pops up from this too. Like what kind of parts. Like I don't know anything about EBC, DP brakes. I don't know if a lot of that's overseas. I'm assuming it is. I'm assuming 90% of that stuff's overseas. But interesting to see what pops up because of this more stateside products.
But, I mean, kind of like you said, too, it's also going to shine a light on the people that – I think we're going to find out more people that were getting stuff overseas versus actually sourcing it in America. And I mean, places like Tusk. Like, Tusk makes a good product, but I don't think they're made – a lot of it some of it's made private label here in the United States, but then some of it is also bought from China or bought from wherever and brought over. So I think it's going to be interesting to see. And, Taylor, kind of how you mentioned granted, they can still make their products without the tariffs in place if they're sourcing everything in the U.S., but if everything else, if all of the consumers' other options are doubling in price, I don't think you're just going to sit there and keep your price the same. I think they're going to kind of bump theirs up because what's the alternative?
Right. Yep.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see, just like friends of the community. We have so many that are like XC Gear and Enduro Engineering, and local shops. Bonecutter Off Road. All these people see what people can do as far as keeping everything down, keeping everything stateside.
Yeah.
So it'd be pretty cool to see, honestly.
Plus, I mean, the costs associated with racing, like you said, there's a lot of, so dirt bike racing is expensive, but it also seems to be like the lowest entry point into racing. As far as like the costs associated with other forms of racing, whether it's cars or even go-karts or anything like that. So I think that's why a lot of people can go buy their 05 YZ 250s and go compete. But when you get to a point where it kind of prices them out of that, then you start seeing the decline on the race series. Then you start seeing the decline of the support that's going into the race series because there's not as many riders. And then also like blowback on dealerships and stuff. If people aren't racing and tearing up as much equipment, they're not buying as much of equipment.
Yep. Or they're pushing the limits of how long their bike can last. Yeah. That's one thing I've really noticed the last month.
Be a whole lot of guys.
Especially dealing with the Johnsons.
Yeah. Be a whole lot of guys headed to MXGP, make more money. No tariffs on there. No tariffs, all the motorcycle brands for like even motocross, supercross.
That's a random thing that I just thought about. And if you don't know, sorry, this is kind of coming out of left field. It just sparked in my mind right now. Like when you got other manufacturers that are overseas where they can get stuff from the same country and not have to pay the tariffs, say like KTM in Austria, they can source stuff there. Is it possible for them to just buy a bulk supply product and then just put it in a shipping container and send it over here to the American teams to kind of circumvent the tariff process for the teams and the industry?
I assume it's still going to be tariffed. Like it has to go through customs.
Yeah, true.
And like, yeah, they're not. They are really, really strict right now, from what I'm hearing from manufacturers and whatnot. And like, if you don't take the time to separate how much steel and aluminum is in each part, they're just going to tariff the whole thing 50%. The whole thing.
Jeez.
So.
There goes that idea.
Yeah.
I forgot about customs.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're going to check that thing in at the port and be like, what's this?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where are you going?
Yeah. Where'd this come from? You owe me some money. So I guess the big question now of this is what can we do? What can the average person do? What can anyone that is involved in the sport or even outside of the sport that this is affecting, what can be done?
So the Motorcycle Industry Council put together this letter where all you have to do is fill out your name, your address, and your email. And they need your address, that way it gets to your state representatives. And pretty much it's just talking about how the tariffs will affect this industry and how it affects the farmers and stuff like that, and asking to get them to get rid of it or make it less or whatever. And so the link is on that screen. And then I think I've shared it multiple times and I can share it again. But it's something easy that anybody can do. You just fill that out, click submit, and then it sends it. You'll get an email back saying that they received it kind of thing, and they'll think about it or whatever it says. And then, I don't know. The Motorcycle Industry Council thinks if enough people send it in, they might be able to get this to go away. So we'll see.
Only one way to find out. We'll do our part. We're gonna fill that thing out, and I'll post that link on the OTP channel. So those obviously you can't copy and paste it off of this screen, but I'll put it up in this show's description on YouTube and in your podcast app. So if you want to look at that, you can go ahead and just click that link directly from wherever you're watching or listening to this from. But yeah, this is way more involved than what I was anticipating, and I really appreciate you reaching out and kind of bringing it to light and having this opportunity to kind of chat and discuss it. I'm not going to say the whole world listens to this program, but few people do, and so it's cool to be able to get this kind of out there and really get it in people's minds, because I think that there's a lot of people kind of like us that just kind of go out of your way to ignore what's going on and just kind of keep living our lives the way that it is. But this is one example of how it's not always quite that easy.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, sweet. What about you? Any more races on the schedule for the rest of this year?
Yeah, I'm gonna finish out the GNCCs. I got a couple more locals, and then I signed up for 2 High Roxes.
What are those?
It's a fitness event, so pretty much by the time you're done with it, you run 5.5 miles, and then you have like 8 stations that you got to do, and it's all like at sprint speed, so that's where it gets hard. So you run 1,000 meters to start off, and then you go straight to the ski erg and do 1,000 meters on that, then run another 1,000, and then you go push a sled, and for women, I think it's 230 pounds, and you do 80 meters of that, and then you go run 1,000 meters, and then you go pull 150 pounds of the sled for the same distance, and then go run 1,000, and then death happens with 80 meters of burpee broad jumps. Those are awful.
Jeez.
I'm out of breath sitting here thinking about it.
I was about to say, my heart rate just went up.
That's like only the halfway point. So then you go run another 1,000 meters, and then you get on the rower for 1,000, which that's your cool down. Like, you're not supposed to go hard with it. You're supposed to get your heart rate back down. And then you go run another 1,000, and then you have sandbag lunges, and I think it's like 12 pounds for women. And I think it's like 80, 100 meters of that. And then you run another 1,000, and then the real death happens with 100 wall balls, and you have to go like full depth of squat form.
Jeez. Craig, I'm glad you asked what that was, because that's what I was thinking, but I wasn't going to say it.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go take a nap now.
That sounds terrible. I just put a self-imposed tariff on myself to never do that.
Yeah. So
good on you.
The training schedule has been nuts this summer. Like August, I went and did a half one at random, just sounded fun. I don't know why, but wasn't trained for it. I'm like, this is freaking hard. I'm in. So, yeah, it's been intense. And then trying to race at the same time, like dirt bikes, it's tough.
Does that make a GNCC like a cakewalk? Like, just 2 hours on a dirt bike? Or are you like sore from doing everything else?
Well, so I have to be very like exact on my training. Like, I don't want to go into the GNCC sore by no means, because that's bad.
Yeah.
But like, it makes it feel so much easier. Like, every time I get done racing, I'm like, this was a piece of cake. Like, yeah. So, I don't know.
What kind of local series is there in Missouri?
We have the one that I do is the Moore Series Midwest Off-Road events, and then we have the Missouri State Hare Scramble Championship Series and Hillbilly Grand Prix, which is Winter Series. It's getting ready to start, I think, this weekend. And then there's some random ones that kind of hit Missouri here and there. So we got a decent amount.
Doesn't Jack Walker's dad run one of them, Jeremy Walker? Don't they run or
it's
do something?
Soil Series, Southern Illinois, and I don't know what the other parts of it is, but Soil, yeah.
Oh. Sorry, that whole kind of I'm geographically declined, so.
Oh no, it's close to us. I haven't had a free weekend to where I could go to one, but I've heard a lot of good things from the local people about the series.
Hell yeah.
Sweet.
Cool.
Well, cool. No, I really, like I said, I appreciate you taking the time out to chat with us. It's cool to kind of learn about some of this stuff, and like I know I've said it a million times, but just realize how much of an impact this really does have. So thank you for bringing it to our attention, and thank you for putting some time out to come on the show and chat with us about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And good luck at the Penton this weekend.
Thank you.
I hate that race.
I hate it too.
It's going to be dry. So excited.
All right.
Yeah, better than rain.
Yeah. But not as good as Penton just getting canceled forever. But
yeah, that's a crazy thing to say to me.
All right. Thanks. Appreciate your time. That was Tayler Bonecutter with Bonecutter Off-Road joining us in there to talk about some of the tariffs and, as she mentioned, running the dealership and everything that they have going out there. So it's cool to see that. And like I said, I truly am glad that she kind of reached out and talked to us about it, because that's something that would have just stayed off of my radar. And I hate to say it like that, but it is something that's so important for everything in the industry. So it's kind of cool to hear that breakdown in that whole conversation.
Yeah, I'm going to buy more used bikes. And I'm not going to take $4,000 for my 350 now.
So here's the other thing. You said that you kept talking about used bikes, and she runs a dealership where they sell new bikes. So I was trying to get away from that and like, hey, support your local dealer. You know what I mean?
I didn't mean to take any away from her. But I was kind of curious how that works too, because dude, at the end of the year there were so many gases. I didn't see anything about betas. I don't think I've never seen any rebates on those really. Gas, KTM, and Husky. Like there was a dealership up in Pennsylvania that had like killer deals. Like there was a 300 SX KTM, 6,800 out the door, is what it said on a piece of paper, and they said they had 3 left at the time. So stuff like that, there's a lot of guys who, don't have $12,000 or aren't dumb enough to go just sign their life away on a $12,000 loan to go buy one.
Yeah.
They're really banking on some deals, and you use bike market sometimes can be shit. You can buy a bike, it explodes, like my Kawasaki did. So it's just one of those things. It's if people don't act and get on, just like click on this link and play your part, could be not good.
Yeah. And, I mean, the other thing that I didn't even think about when we were talking to her on that conversation until you kind of just said something about the KTMs, but look at KTM, and everything that they just went through as a company, like about going bankrupt. Are they going to have to close the doors? Then they end up getting bought out. Like, they just went through a crazy financial hardship, which, once again, I don't know as much as I should know about it, but it sounded like a big part of that was from an overabundance and overstock of parts that they couldn't get rid of. Like, it seemed like that was a big part of the financial issues, was having all these parts, whether they're for old models or what the deal was, but it seemed like that had a role in what was going on with them. But they just went through this giant financial, which can be
that could be a word too.
To gigantial.
Yeah, that can't be a word.
Are you listening, Zach Tussle? Maybe throw that one in with a client. Yeah. We can get you gigantial gains at TussleInvestments.com. But they just went through a giant financial crisis, and it seems from the public eye barely saved the company. And now all of a sudden this hits.
Yeah.
And it's like, I guess at the end of the day, they're just directly charging for the tariffs, but they're passing that on to the consumer. So the amount of money that all of these companies are going to be making per sale, from what I gather, is going to remain relatively the same, but there's going to be a lot less people buying it because of the increased prices.
And I'm sure it took a couple years for this to happen, like a couple things backing up. But you think about 2023 was the new body style KTM. Had some issues, there were some fast guys. Supercross, motocross complained about them. I know a lot of the off-road guys were not happy with them. The 19 to 22 KTMs, a lot of people liked. The 16 through 18 KTMs, a lot of people liked. As soon as they changed that body style, and there was a lot of parts that did not fit from a 16 to 22 on a 23.
Yeah.
I think about that a lot because it's just like I've been on the older generation of gas, which is the 19 to 22 KTM. And I have aftermarket parts, got a lot of stuff at the house, big tanks, fuel tanks, or big tanks, exhausts, brake systems. Like there's a lot of things that don't work on the new bikes. But 2 or 3 years ago, then things were worth big money, like selling aftermarket. Now you can't sell any of it. Like I have a 23 gas. Same as a 22 KTM, which is just as good, or some people say better than the new ones. And all those parts are pretty much worth nothing. So there's not a whole lot of people buying cheaper used parts. There's a whole lot of people not spending top dollar on, OEM parts.
Yeah.
Especially whenever none of the new stuff works on the old stuff.
Yeah. And that, to that point, I think that was a big thing of KTM's issue. Is I think they had an overabundance of parts that didn't fit the new model bikes, so they couldn't build the new bikes with them.
Yeah.
But they had all the money sunk into them just sitting in the warehouse. And I could be completely wrong about that. But from the things that I read and things that I gathered, that's what I took away from it.
Maybe if they didn't put automatic doors in the new Marietta, California shop, they could, they could have kept their head above water.
But what's the good part about all this for us?
We ride Yamahas?
That we ride Yamahas, right here, baby.
What's
up? We're on the Blue Crew. The last Yamaha I had 236 hours, never had nothing but oil and air filters.
Yeah, I got 30 on mine now.
Well, I guess chain and sprockets, but
At that point,
That's not on Yamaha.
If anyone wants a 23 gas 350, holler at your boy.
Yeah. Quick. Prices are going to go
4,600, cuz 40 hours.
But no, I mean, realistically, like I don't have any experience on any of the Austrian bikes. I've ridden some in like demo days, and I've ridden buddies' bikes, and just for me, never gelled with it.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say the same thing, switching back over to Yamahas. I mean, look at the growing pains that Caleb's going through after riding KTM's his entire career and trying to get this Yamaha sorted out. But for me, Yamaha is what I always rode.
Yeah.
Up until we had the beta deal on here, I really never rode anything but a Yamaha, which was like a real, like sincere, genuine reason for moving forward with Yamaha. Because it's like it's genuine. Look at any picture of me racing a dirt bike. I'm on a Yamaha.
Yeah.
And but like part of that whole thing is the reliability of it. And you look back and like Yamaha, Honda, they seem to be the two that get the biggest rap for like reliability and holding up. And I mean, really in a time like this, I think that does show off like a manufacturer's ability to create those bikes that are low maintenance, that don't have as much issues. And I'm not saying that any other brands have issues. I'm just saying there seems to be less with a bike like a Yamaha. And so that's kind of one thing that I was thinking, but obviously her dealership represents different brands, so I didn't want to put her in a weird spot. But that is one thing that I was kind of thinking about this whole time is like about being on the Yamahas. And if I guess basically if these tariffs are going to affect other people like privateers that are buying their own bikes, buying their own parts, now will they think more seriously into going for a bike like a Yamaha versus like guys that are buying KTMs, gases, like any European bikes, or now even Triumph just came out with their bikes, and so there's not a lot of aftermarket parts out there to begin with, and there's definitely not a lot of used parts out there because they've only been around for a year or two. So I wonder if something like this will kind of change manufacturer alliance from privateers or just the everyday racers that are buying bikes.
Yeah, and problems I see too is whenever these manufacturers aren't making as much money or people aren't buying as many bikes, the the rider contingency is going to change. Yeah. I know a lot of guys are on Cowies right now because they pay a lot of money.
Yeah.
Same thing with back in the day, they had the Redhead Huskies. Honda is paying a bunch of money. And I'm not going to say it's because they're just trying to get people to buy the bike because they haven't been selling, because I think Honda sells a lot of motorcycles, in my opinion. But I know a lot of guys just this year bought Cowies. Eric East is on a Cowie right now because he just made $1,000 for a Open A win. If he would have been on a Cowie all year, not saying he would have won the championship because, his heart wouldn't have been revved, but he would have made, he won 6 rounds. He made $6,000.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things that can be affected, and I think those contingency numbers are what keeps a lot of people up and going as well. Like the U.S. Sprint Enduro Series, there's a lot of guys I know that had Hondas or Cowies that were going there because they could make $1,000, $1,500 for a 30A win.
I feel like that's a giant part of the bike buying process for everyday people.
Yeah, how's this going to benefit me? Other than riding, is there any way that this motorcycle is going to help me, off the track? Financially, I always bought KTMs because all my buddies had KTMs. I was on YZ252 strokes and 125s. I bought a KTM 300 because all my buddies had KTMs. So if I went to a racetrack and I had, a bib blowout, I knew the Gearings, who I was used to ride with at the time, had set of wheels sitting there. Everybody was on them, and that was one of that big kick in 2015. And up, everybody wanted KTM 252 strokes. They wanted the KTM 350 when it came out. So that was my deal. I wanted the KTM because parts from all my friends, my friends who are professional, they all had KTMs for a long time, and that was kind of a me thing. I bought a Cowie at one point, 2019. It was a piece of shit. It blew up immediately. I made $500 for an Open B race at Big Buck, and I was like, son of a bitch, look at this. Then I paid $3,000 for a motor about 2 weeks later. So I was like, well, son of a bitch, look at this. But yeah, the contingency, that is what everybody needs. There's not a whole lot of people that actually, the biggest market is not the guys racing dirt bikes contingency-wise, but that's our market. That's the people we know the most. So,
but that's why, and I didn't want to say the name, but there's no other way to kind of talk about it because I think that they're the only one. But like, we worked with Beta for 4 years. Beta didn't have contingency.
Yeah.
And so that was like one of the biggest things is like trying to promote the bikes. Like the bikes were good, but it's like trying to promote them. A lot of people that would ask me about that bike would also be like, oh, what do they pay for contingency? And it's like, well, they don't pay anything.
Yeah.
And then kind of to your point, like a lot of guys that we know that are riding Hondas or riding Cowies or riding Yamahas, like you ask them why, and it's because the contingency payout's the highest.
Yeah.
Because for people that are paying their way to the races, that matters. Like that's
huge.
That's a big part of it. And kind of to circle it back to this whole tariff thing, if that contingency gets cut out because of these tariffs and because of the ensuing costs that the manufacturers are taking on by doing all of this, I think that's going to change a lot of people's opinions on what they're riding.
I agree, but thinking about it too, you know how everyone says the C rider is the one who pays the A rider or the pro guy's paycheck.
Yeah.
Like that is the reason. I do think there's a whole lot of people who race don't race that ride motorcycles. You go to Brown Mountain, you see all these people. That was the thing I always thought of about the betas is there's a whole lot of people buying the betas that weren't racing at the time. Whole lot of people at Brown Mountain, hard enduro guys, trail riders. They had the Beta 200, which KTM doesn't have the 200 anymore. And you had a Beta 200. I know some guys from Ohio had Beta 200s. They loved them. So for a lot of people, they liked the Beta format, and they were never going to make money anyway. So it wasn't like our friend group who was the consumer for Beta, but it was a lot of guys who just you rode for fun, or they had it's not the X Trainer, that's the KTM, but they had the
no Beta's the X.
Is that the X Trainer? So there's a whole lot of people who don't have the same wants and needs as us, but for everybody who's racing, that in my opinion is what they're looking for.
Yeah.
So I think about that a lot. I'm like, man, when these people go and they go buy a freaking TM, like, do they just go and think, I want the most random shit and a teal color motorcycle, and you know what? I want it to be different.
I want to put my gas in the rear number plate.
Yeah. But then, just to say that, this year, John Ross and Luke and Jake Ross's dad, he's an importer now. So he's got Henry Szymanski, he's got Luke Ross on one, and they said they're sick. Like they just went to.
I mean, Corey Steed raced one for a couple years.
Yeah, that's how I met her. She fell off the side of the hill at snowshoe, and I freaking brought her ass up off the cliff, and she was sitting there dead. But like Luke, he went over. I think John's business partner is a team owner for the TM racing team for Enduro GP. And they just went over there, and they did like a 2-week trip, and Luke raced, I'm not sure in which Enduro it was, but he said, dude, these things are unreal. And just talking about this, a guy like John Ross, who he's always worked, he mapped, I'm going to butcher this, the TPI for KTM's first fuel-injected motorcycles. He was one of the first guys here that was mapping them. Like when you first bought them, they were either lean or they were rich or they just weren't right, and he was writing maps for them. Well, he's now an importer for TM, and that's could probably be his bread and butter. So you have these tariffs on the Italian. Like I said, I didn't exactly see what percent on each country or what area.
Are TM's Italian or French?
Italian.
Which one's French?
Muskin. Yeah. I don't know any manufacturer that's French.
I thought there was one. Anyway.
Triumph's from the UK, correct?
Yeah. Britain, isn't it?
I don't want to say it like that. Speaking of UK, Jack Edmondson's supposed to be in an airplane with me yesterday, but he got scared. Didn't want to go.
What's the deal with that?
Scared. He's on a plane right now going home, but he didn't want to be in one yesterday, I guess.
Yeah. This whole thing just kind of shook my brain up a little bit. I didn't realize the extent of all this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Taylor, if you're still listening, I apologize. I wasn't trying to get people not to come buy betas and gases off of you. I'm just saying I'm going to continue to buy used shit because I can't.
And Sherco.
Yeah. Share tacos?
They had Shercos too.
Yeah. I see a lot of people. Dude, at Brown Mountain, we went 2 weeks ago. I seen more Shercos and betas and Honda Ranchers than anything.
Yeah.
No KDXs. I was pissed.
It is crazy, like especially when you go to hard enduro. Like the amount of betas and Shercos that you see. And I think it's just because we're so one-tracked in like GNCC, National Enduro, you don't see many of them. And then you go to a place like TKO, and it's like
a whole shit ton of them.
Yeah, the woods are filled with them. And that's a lot of the reason why I wanted to go to TKO this year is because kind of the opposite. Like, you wouldn't see very many Yamahas at all. But now that, like, Cody Webb's on a Yamaha and they signed another guy for that Yamaha team, the Rocky Mountain Yamaha team for hard enduro, I wonder if that trickle-down effect is going to more consumers buying a Yamaha to take it out to do hard enduro.
I doubt it.
But to your point, like like when you go to a Brown, when you go to a Brushy, the amount of guys that are on, like, the quote-unquote weird bikes goes through the roof.
Yeah, go see Ryder and Jordan Newts on their DRZ 400. It's absolutely shitting on everybody.
Yeah.
That's the funnest thing, is going up there and you just hear a little, just way off in the distance, you think anyway, you just hear like a little hum, and here it comes, the quietest motorcycle there is. He's got a trials tire on, and he just goes right past you up this hill that you're laying on a 450 on the side of the hill. Makes you feel like a bag of shit, really, because them boys are really good.
Yeah.
But I'd never – well, it's just like Eric Geese, he rode that 02 YZ250 this year at Battle of the Goats. And he's like – we were joking. I was like, man, revving your heart all weekend. And I watched him eat a bag of shit going down a hill. And he's like, man, I wish I was on a KTM 300. It wasn't exactly a stock YZ was not exactly the best option for the day.
Yeah.
But
well, it's like the amount of work that Cody Webb has had to do to make his bike into somewhat of a hard enduro bike is crazy. But, I mean, that's not what they were made for. But
not at all.
So to convert them to do that. I mean, Ricky Russell put one in the top 10 at TKO.
Do you think
YZ250.
Do you think when they signed Cody Webb and Cody started doing all these tricks and trades over to this Yamaha to get it how he wanted it, do you think this is eventually going to be a bike that comes out like a YZ250X is a stock YZ250 with a head mod and an 18-inch wheel? Do you think there's eventually going to be a YZ2-stroke that could be more of an off-road weapon, and they're using Cody Webb as more of like a somebody who's, building the bike, testing the bike to get it to where it could be more of a consumer model?
Yeah, they're using Cody Webb to develop the 350 or the 300, and then they're using Caleb Russell to develop the 350. Don't you watch the headlines on Facebook?
I do, and it's like Team News, and I don't click on it.
Well,
Dirt Bike Lover is what it's called.
I've always wondered that, too, because Cody Webb has gone to the level of, like, re-engineering internal engine parts to make his bike better and putting different transmissions on it. So I've always kind of wondered, like, to what level the Yamaha researchers take that information to maybe develop a hard enduro or a YZXX.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like a hard enduro version or a 300. I think if Yamaha came out with a 300 that was geared low like a tractor, like the KTM and Beta and Sherco 300s, I think they wouldn't be able to keep them on the shelf or on the showroom floors.
I think if they had a stock electric start, and honestly, I think there'd be a whole lot of shift of people buying them if there was a stock, like a factory that had electric start.
Yeah.
Not the Kickstarter. If you have a YZ250 on the line in C class, B class, A class, Pro class, they're probably going to get a whole shot because they start excellent. I mean, that's why I've been sitting here kind of dealing on this one up in Ohio. I just thought about getting it just to have it because you can get them cheap. You can prep them, and they're, an 03 is the same as a 26.
Not really. An 03 is a steel frame.
It
doesn't have the SSS forks.
I agree. But
an 05 is aluminum frame. I would say an 06 is close to a new one. But an 03 is a completely different bike.
Same motor. Same exact motor. Same wheels.
Different frame.
Different forks.
Different
the
geometry.
frame. If I've rode
suspension.
an 03, I've rode Eric's 02, and I've rode many other ones. They feel very similar, in my opinion. That's just what I'm saying. A lot of parts are interchangeable. Same motor.
That a 22-year-old YZ250 can still be competitive.
Yeah,
which
absolutely.
I think is cool.
Yeah, it absolutely can. Has anybody done, like, obviously, Cody Webb's done quite a bit of, like, testing videos with his bikes. Has anyone, like Dirt Bike TV or anyone like that, or Dirt Rider Magazine, have they done a test with his bikes? Like a stock YZ250, and then you have Cody Webb's YZ250, 295, whatever it is. I wonder if anyone's done, like, a head-to-head test to see exactly how different it feels.
That would be cool.
That'd be cool at Brown Mountain.
Yeah.
Cody, that'd be so cool if you came and hung out.
They got to be getting close to off season.
Yeah, and I know his mechanic lives
I don't know how to
about
get his bike
30 minutes away from me in Ohio.
Oh, really?
So we could figure something out quick.
But Cody lives in, like, Arizona
Yeah, we don't need him. We just need his bike.
or somewhere like that.
Dude, his mechanic, no homo, has a freaking gnarly mustache. I seen him at Battle of the Goats. I said, brother, you are not from Colorado. He said, I'm from Ohio, brother. I said, me too. I just can't grow the mustache. But if I could, we'd have the same shit. Same hair. I had the little baby mullet, whatever, the little Joe Dirt Jerry curl thing from the factory. We look pretty close. That'd be cool, though. You guys, what are you doing? Checking me out here? Check it out one time.
That would be pretty cool.
All
So
you gotta do is
I
shoot
know.
text.
Well, I don't know. I allegedly heard, like when Stu was in Japan testing, what could be a new Kawasaki two-stroke. Well, I guess that part they've said that several times, but part of the thing that they did is they had all the other manufacturers' bikes, including a Yamaha, and kind of tested them all side by side on the same loop to be like, hey, what does this one do better? What does this one do worse? What can we change here? So you got to think that all the manufacturers are doing that same kind of thing. And if Yamaha is looking to develop like a more hard enduro type bike weapon, I'm sure that Cody Webb has absolutely had to be involved in that process. I mean, he's the one doing it at the highest level right now.
Yeah, and I haven't had a whole lot of experience on the like TBI, TPIs, like I've rode them. But I think if you're a hard enduro guy, and I know there's a lot of diehard Yamaha guys out there, as they should be, a carbureted YZ300 or 250 with the correct timing, head work and transmission, an electric start would go huge.
Yeah.
Like, I think they run good from the factory. Like, a lot of people put JD jet kits in them. They run, a little bit higher octane fuel. I'm a fan of the carburetor. I'm a fan of the carburetor in hard enduro. I'm a fan of the carburetor on a motocross track. I think TBI is excellent. I think they have their issues, but I think they will be the future. But I don't think you have to redesign the entire YZ250 to have what a lot of people are looking for.
Yeah.
When you're on the side of a hill and you can't, put one foot down and kick the bike, that's an issue. Like, I seen a video, Cody, when he raced his YZ250, the 93, the WR. I seen him on video. There's a couple times where he would have benefited massively from electric start. Like, it screwed him up quite a bit.
Yeah.
But just to sum that up, I think if you had a good carbureted 250 or 300 with a just different timing and same shit that he's doing now, in a factory setup, I think it would go huge.
See, and like I understand the carburetor thing because like Beta, Sherco, Yamaha, they're keeping the carburetor. Like they have no sign or no intention to go to fuel injection, from what I understand. And I was told by people high up in Beta, being around those guys, that Beta will never switch to fuel injection. They want a carburetor. So, like, I understand that. But, like, when it comes to, like, an electric start, that seems like an easy fix that a lot of people want. Like, just like you're saying, like a YZ250 with an electric start, I think would be a huge selling factor to people that are on the fence between a Beta, a Sherco, a KTM, or a Yamaha.
Yeah.
I think, especially like older, think about the people that are going to Brown Mountain. A lot of them are like 50-year-old dudes or 60-year-old dudes even that want to just go ride around. Like those guys don't want to be standing on the tall side of a hill trying to kick the bike downhill. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like I wonder how many people are on that fence of that being the only deciding factor that pushes them away.
Yeah, maybe the same breath that all the things that Cody's doing to his bike, maybe not exactly going to manufacture a new bike for Yamaha, but maybe they're going to start selling kits. $1,300, turn your 2023 YZ that you just paid $4,000 for into a YZ Woods bike.
Yeah.
Like other than
like
an
a
18-inch
GYTR part.
A GYTR, I can't imagine they'd have. I mean, you could swap the whole transmission out and give you the head, give you the porting, whatever you need. I think there's a big market for that. Like I think that's huge. Just like Josh, whenever he's overseas for 6 days, he's a Kawasaki rider. Well, if he wants to run XC1 next year, let's say, or if he's any Pro 1 for National Enduro, he's on a not stock, but he's on a KX 250F. It's a 250cc displacement. They have 300 kits. One of the guys, I'm not sure what country he's from, but at 6 days, who did real good on a Cowie. I don't know if you remember seeing videos. He's the only other Cowie out there other than Josh, the highlights. He has a 300 kit.
Was it not
Kyron Bacon?
No,
he's on Yamaha last year, wasn't he?
The Chile guy with the Red Bull helmet.
No, it wasn't. Wasn't Benjamin Herrera.
Oh.
He used to be on a Cowie, but he over here. But
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
To my point, there's kits like Redline Moto, 400 kits and 300 kits for Hondas. There's 300 kits for Cowies, like Josh wants to try over here because it just gives you a little more ass for the National Enduros, a little more torque. You know, when he won, he was on a 350. He probably would love to have a 300 or a 350 on a Cowie. Yamaha, you go buy, and that kit was only like $700 over there, or $1,200, whatever it is. If you had a $1,200 kit for a YZ250, that could turn it into similar to what people are wanting out of a KTM 300. I think it'd go huge because you can buy that bike used for $2,700 sitting in Ohio.
Yeah,
or $2,800, whatever it is.
I mean, also kind of like the A class not moving to XC2 and the XC2 not moving to XC1. Like we talk about, it's the money, and if you can make a living, why move up? I think they sell so many YZ 125s and so many YZ 250s that they just leave it. I mean, it's like I said, it's not a knock that bike is similar to the 2006 model.
Yeah.
It's a good thing because the bikes are proven. The bikes have been around for a long time. The bikes have parts. The bikes have proven success, and a lot of people love to ride them. And I think they're still selling a bunch of them. So it's like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like I think the baseline is there, the quality is there for them, but if you just had that magic button, like a guy like me, like I broke my leg twice, it makes me think twice before I kick a bike. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the bikes are proven, obviously, so it'd be cool to. I don't know. I guess the thing to me is like it's not a negative or a positive. It's just like more of. I wonder what goes on at the high level when those discussions are being had. You know what I mean? Like, what's the rationale?
Well,
I think it's what interests me about it.
They're probably looking at the YZ 125 and 250. There's no Honda, not right now, Cowie 125 or 250s. But most of the Japanese brands don't have the two-strokes anymore.
Yeah.
So, like, well, we got a YZ 125, which, not even because I'm on a Yamaha now. In general, if I was going to buy 125, it'd be a YZ 125 because you can put a PC or FMF pipe on it, you can jet it, run good fuel, and you have a race bike. Suspensions, what everybody's, they're putting KYB swaps into KTMs to get the forks to act like a Yamaha. But to the point there, it's just like, I think that if you could put anybody like. I'm lost everything. I lost every train of thought I just had.
It happens sometimes.
I don't remember. I feel like I just took 40 edibles and just thought I'm about to
die. Shout out Matt Dreyer. Just gave us $20. Here's to the John Penn having mint conditions. Thanks for the show, boys.
Hell yeah, dog.
Thank you for the donation to the show, dude. It means a lot. Really appreciate that. I hate the John Penton.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, I've only had a couple good days there, but it's local. My sister and the niece and some buddies are going to be there. So, I was just saying that.
You came back?
Yeah, I came back. I just think if they have diehard fans and they have people that know they can go to the motorcycle and it's going to be good.
Yeah.
So the higher ups are sitting there thinking, well, shit, boys, we made a whole lot of these frames in 2006. So let's just keep on, plugging them off. It's probably the cheapest bike to manufacture right now.
Yeah.
Because they know exactly, they've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that's the thing,
it's kind of crazy to say out loud, isn't it?
If you put an electric start, you got to change the cases, you got to change things, which means you got to retool machines, you got to change the way you're making it. Like, it's a big investment to make a change that drastic. So it's like maybe the sales have just been the same or a little bit up, a little bit down for so long. Whereas, like, it would almost take, like, a drastic decline in sales for them to be like, all right, we need to change this.
Yeah.
To invest the money to do all of that.
But if they invested money just for, limited kits to see if they flew off the the showroom, like the GYTR kit we're talking about.
But those are also like even Cody's setup. Like it's big, it's bulky, it sticks out. I feel like it's prone to getting hit by rocks or whatever. I don't know if I would trust an aftermarket thing as much as like a factory made.
Yeah, well, because like the starters on KTM's are behind the jug, sitting on top of the case for the 4-strokes anyway.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the same for 2-strokes. It used to be on the left side case, and like in 2015, the starters were pieces of shit, dude. They would just go out. Every 2015 250 XC you see says starter doesn't work, or the Sprag gear would go.
Yeah.
So like the KTM, who went to electric start pretty quick for the 4-strokes, obviously. What I guess Yamaha did the same thing. They've been doing it long enough to where it's not that huge of a deal. But for Yamahas,
I think Yamaha was the last bike to get electric start too. 2014. 2014 for the 250F.
2017
for electric start. No.
2016 was the same body style as 2014. 2018 was the first body for the change of body style. 2017 was the same. 2017 was the yellow ones were 16.
I thought the 2014s had electric start. That was the first fuel injected. That's when they went to fuel injection.
Yeah.
Because the 2013 YZ250F was carbureted.
Yeah, they were still.
Yeah.
But you got a 250FX.
I mixed up fuel injection. I was thinking.
And maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure there was a whole lot of kickstart 24. Yeah. I remember riding a 2016 YZ450, and it had a kicker on it. Someone's going to flame us,
Well, they
dude.
always used to have damn electric starts, and no, the 2014 YZ250F did not come with factory electric start.
Boom.
The electric starter system was significant overhaul for the 2019 model year.
Hell yeah, dog.
2014 model is notable for including electronic fuel injection and a new frame, but still featured a Kickstarter. Same thing, bud. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. 2014 still won Bike of the Year. You want to know why?
Dude, that was a great bike.
Yamaha.
That was a great bike.
I remember drooling over those bikes, dude. I wanted one so bad.
Yeah. I remember Chris Hoyle bought one and raced it to Florida and then came home and pulled the drain plug to let the wool out, never put it back in, fired it up, rode it down his driveway, and it exploded. It's crazy. Joe Thomas says, so what's it going to take to get you boys to a TOR?
These tour boys don't give up, dude. They are relentless.
Yeah. I got to go down there and show Dylan Recchia who's dad. So we need to figure that out. My old-ass friend, Dylan. Dylan wears tank tops, Recchia. And Lasher. I think Lasher needs a little bit of smoke, too. I'm going to go up there and get
I was trying to get Thorne Devlin an arrive and ride deal at a GNCC. Maybe Thorne needs to get me an arrive and ride deal at a tour. Or Tegan. Hit up Tegan. Tell him to hit me up. We'll figure something out. I used to take a lot of pictures of Tegan.
Joe, Joe, you got a motorcycle I could borrow if I get in the Cessna and cruise up there? I wonder what. Dude, the Budds Creek
Craig,
one would be
we
sick.
get it. You're a pilot, all right?
You're not.
I have a drone.
That don't count, dude. How, Joe? Here.
I'm so close to buying a paramotor, dude.
Yeah, you better go and up that insurance, cause you're gonna die.
I got the best insurance you can get right now.
Yeah, say what it is.
We'll talk about that another time, maybe.
Joe, I'll check the schedule because I had to tell Lasher and Rick and Dylan that I would try to come up to them before the end of the year, and it's October, so maybe we'll check it out.
I don't have a picture of it on here. Maybe I can flash it real quick on here.
What are you flashing, cuz? You can get us flagged. What we got going on here?
This is why I haven't been to a tour race. This is my yearly schedule. This is all the stuff that I have to do. That is like, I think 37 weekends away at races.
Dude, look at my freaking wrinkles in my forehead. I'm like 50 years old.
This past weekend was the only off weekend from summer until after my birthday in November. Last year we only had Easter off from January until June, the end of June. And then you got a few weeks off in summer. This summer I spent a lot of time in Florida and dealing with a bunch of other personal stuff. But the main reason I haven't been to a tour is because, one, I'm at a race every single weekend working. And two, when I'm not at a race every single weekend working, I want to be at my house, or half the time we end up going on vacation or something somewhere. So that is the real reason why I haven't been. I want to go. I'm trying to figure out some stuff for next year. I might change up the program a little bit next year. We'll see how it all goes.
See what you're gonna do. You ain't told me.
But I would like to get out there and check out a tour. That being said, there's only so much time. There's only so many weekends, and every weekend it seems like I have to be somewhere. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a fact of the matter.
I ain't got shit to do, bud. I ain't got a job. Let's do it.
My jobs are just on the weekends. But anyway, this weekend is the John Penton GNCC up in
Millfield,
Ohio, right outside of Athens. Every time I've gone up there in the past several years, I've been in a Tesla, and I always end up sleeping at the hospital right next to downtown Athens. So I know it's close there, but I always forget Millfield. Trying to decide whether we're taking the electric rig or the RV this weekend. Be a game time decision, I think. Either way, we'll be there. We'll be on a Yamaha because we are presented by a Yamaha. We are Blue Crew, both of us. And, yeah, can't wait to get up there and check out some GNCC racing. Obviously, the penultimate round, 2 rounds left of racing to go. Grant Davis has a 20-point lead as they head into this weekend, but Ben Kelly is hungry to wrap up that overall championship. So we'll see how it goes. Grant Davis basically just has to show up, and he'll wrap up the XC2 championship. XC3 has been wrapped up, and I believe that the WXC title could get wrapped this weekend, depending on what happens. So a lot of stuff, a lot of storylines, a lot of interesting things to look forward to this coming weekend at the John Penton GNCC. We will be there. We will see you there. Thank you, Craig, for coming over, being part of the show. Any parting words?
Like and subscribe if you want Grant Davis to put his massive nutsack over his shoulder and get on a 350 for the last round.
There you go. Or just be a friend, tell them, like and subscribe to OTP. Thank you for listening. Thank you, Tayler Bonecutter, for coming on and chatting us up about tariffs. Thanks, Craig, for being here, and we'll see you guys next week on the Pipe podcast.